All right, today we're going to review another car, and I picked the Hot Wheels Custom V8 Vega. This casting came out in 2009, and it was a mainline. It came out in three colors that year, as I recall. They were red, yellow, and an aqua blue. And they made a lot of these, for the first, I guess, 8 or 9 years. It seemed like every year they were doing this casting. They did multiple ones in 2010 as part of their Faster Than Ever series. They did a Hollywood Boulevards model in all black, which was really slick. It found its way into multiple 5-packs and 20-packs and I guess 9-packs. So it was a multi-pack car throughout the years. And the last time they did it was in 2020. It was a Flying Customs. And I almost picked that one for this video today, but I just could not help when looking at the display case to pull the Cool Classics rendition of the Custom V8 Vega. And this one came out in 2013. I'll talk a little bit more about this car in a few. But let me get into the Vega itself. The model was a Chevrolet release between the years of 1970 and 1977. They were budget cars. They were pre-Chevrolet Chevette. They were an entry-level car, so if you were a college kid or you just got your first job out of school, the Vega was very affordable, and they were supposed to be dependable cars. They had some things going for them. They also had a lot of flaws. Probably the biggest flaw is they rusted a lot. The steel that Chevrolet used in the 1970s just wasn't that good, and it wasn't just inherent to Vegas. I mean, they had the problem with trucks and other cars as well. My mom had a 1972 Chevy Malibu, beautiful car, but it rusted all around the windshield, and within 6 or 7 years there was serious body issues going on. The other problem with the Vega is they used an aluminum block 2.3 liter inline 4, and the engineers actually tried to do this without a radiator. They thought they could cool the engine enough with just the heater core, but it failed. So eventually they had to put a small radiator in these things. And even then they had problems. They were just known for overheating. The other thing about the motor, which I found really, really fascinating, I don't know if maybe not fascinating, I found it to be odd, is that they did not sleeve the cylinders of the aluminum block. They used an aluminum alloy that had a very high silicon content in it, and they etched the cylinder walls, and they thought that that would be enough to prevent wear. But the fact of the matter is it did not. The steel rings on the pistons wore those engines out within short order. And, by short order, I'm not talking 10 or 20,000 miles, but they did not have longevity. And eventually, in 1977, Chevrolet replaced the 2.3 liter all aluminum engine with their famous 2.5 liter, and they called it the Iron Duke. It was a pretty robust 4-cylinder engine, so they took care of that problem. So as I alluded to earlier, this is from the Cool Classics series. It's my favorite Hot Wheels series that they've ever done. They only had it for 2 years. The Cool Classics were between 2013, 2014. They made 30 cars each year, 60 total. And I've got all 60 of them still on the card in protector cases. And then I've got a few like the one you're seeing here that I just like so much. I bought 2 and opened them. And as with all Cool Classics, there are a few things that really stand out. This was the first time that they had used Spectra Frost paint. And Spectra Frost it's kind of like Spectra Flame in terms of the quality of the paint, but it's a semi-matte finish as opposed to the Spectra Flame, which has a high gloss, high metallic look to it. I like the Spectra Frost. It's very good in terms of how it has some sheen to it when the light hits it. When the light isn't hitting it, it has a somewhat flat look to it. They have not done a lot of Spectra Frost since. In fact, I don't know if they've really done much at all. They've done flat paints on main lines and even on some of their premiums. But in terms of pure Spectra Frost, I'll have to look. I don't think they've done many. As with all Cool Classics, there's some standout things on this car. They use the retro 5-slot wheels, which are one of my all-time favorites. Those wheels came out for the Cool Classic series, and they've since used this wheel pattern on a lot of different Hot Wheels models, to include mainlines, which I really think is good. A couple of the more recent mainlines I've seen them on, the 55 Nomad, the 72 Stingrays that they've done over the past few years have them, as do a whole bunch of other cars. So really glad to see that. It has a metal base. All Cool Classics did, so it's metal on metal. Unlike the quote-unquote silver series that we get now, and this, the Cool Classics would probably be considered a silver series. It's not as high cost. They weren't as high cost as the premiums. They were sort of in between a mainline and a premium. It did not get four-side detailing. That's the only thing about the Cool Classics that I wish they had done different. So this car has three-side. You'll see there's pinstriping and accenting around the hood and the sides of the car. This has a hood scoop on it. This is a custom quote-unquote V8 Vega. They did not make a V8 model Vega in production, but many people, starting right when these cars came out, bought them and converted them to V8s, because you could easily put a small block V8 in there. You could actually fit a big block in there, no problem. And many of the drag racers of the time and to this day still like Vegas because they're short wheelbase, they don't weigh a lot, they're cheap, you can tub them, put slicks under the back, and the lightweight gives you a heck of a performance advantage when it comes to drag racing. So yeah, the only thing just going back to what I was talking about with respect to the detailing, I wish they had done headlight and taillight details on this car, but even without it, it's fine. One thing I really do want to call out are the exhaust tips. They did a beautiful job of forming those from the metal base, so that you'll see they protrude. They're coming around right now. You can see those protruding under the rear bumper, and they are part of the Zamac base. I weighed the car. It's 40 grams, and that's not bad for something as small as it is. The metal on metal certainly helps in the weight department. So we'll send this down the track in a minute and see how it performs. Okay, here goes the roll test. And spinning the wheels, getting them broken in. Always do that before you take the car out and try it down the track. If it comes right out of the blister, sometimes there's a little bind on the axles. So you break them in, and they tend to do better. We'll see how this one does. All right, it's slow and it doesn't go far. So 2. All right, 2 again, a little past 2. And a third one. All right, a little past 2. So this is not a good roller, I'd say. Average I consider to be 2.5 to 3. This falls short of that, but I don't care. One of these days we're going to get one on here. I've got cars, like I've said, that'll go to 4 and even off the track. We just haven't reviewed them. Seems like the cars that I like the most are the ones that don't roll as good, but it doesn't matter. This is a favorite of mine, and it certainly comes from a series of Hot Wheels that I adore, which is the Cool Classic series. So thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.